Someone coming in? Okay. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, please.
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, Monday, August 17th, 2020, 7 p.m. Heidrich.
Here.
Holtmeyer.
Here.
Obermark.
Here.
Hatke.
Here.
Pettit.
Here.
Skornia. Here. Sullentrup. Wessels. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the regular meeting dated August 3rd, 2020? Heidrich.
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Obermark.
Aye.
Hatke.
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes.
Skornia. Sullentrup. Wessels.
Having read the minutes, are there any comments or questions? Any corrections?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Sullentrup, seconded by Heidrich, to approve the minutes from our last meeting dated August 3, 2020. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the minutes. Thank you.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including consent agenda. You have a liquor license application for Aces and Eagles LLC at 1170 West 5th Street, liquor license renewals, and a pawnbroker business license renewal for Pawn Shop 1190 West 5th Street.
Okay, are there any questions or comment about any of those items?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Heidrich, to approve the items on the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the items. Thank you.
Priority items, mayor's presentations, appointments, and reappointments. Washington Historic Preservation Commission reappointments.
Okay, this evening on our agenda, we have the reappointments of 3 members to our Washington Preservation Commission. Those members are Carolyn Witt, who her term will be ending in August 2025, Andrew Clary, also in 2025, and Rick Hopp, also in 2025. They've all served. I know Rick has been on the Preservation Commission for quite a long time. Carolyn is the chairman of the commission right
Correct.
now. So anyway, those are our 3 members.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Heidrich, to approve the reappointments of Carolyn Witt, Andrew Clary, and Rick Hopp to the Washington Preservation Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the items. Thank you.
Public hearings, rezone 15 and 21 East 2nd Street from R3 multifamily residential to C3 Central Commercial District.
All right. Good evening. So this is a pretty straightforward rezoning. So it's 2 addresses here. I know there's 3 highlighted, but this presentation you'll see later, there's a plat on this northern piece and Main and Market, but the rezoning are for 15 and 21, these 2 structures at 2nd and Market Street on the north side of 2nd Street. You can see here the zoning now. This lighter blue is the C3 downtown district that allows for mixed use, 0 lot lines, more of our downtown zoning, and this darker turquoise or this darker blue is multifamily. Both of these properties are actually in nonconformance right now. This 15 in the middle is currently a vacation rental by owner, and they have the correct permits to do that, but however, that is not typically permitted in R3. It was grandfathered in, and so they'll be able to come into full conformance when that gets put to C3. And on the corner here, this is the old schoolhouse that I believe Andy Understall does have plans for residents, but it's currently just a vacant structure. And so even single family will be permitted in this new C3 district. So we are recommending approval The original application just came in with this one for on the corner, and we didn't, the applicant mentioned, hey, if we talk to the neighbor, should we bring them in as well? And we did prefer that, because that way we're not leaving anyone out into an island by itself. It rezones the whole block. So we are recommending approval of that, and then the plat, I will show you guys later on in the meeting.
Any discussion from the neighbors?
No, so at P&Z, there was, the only discussion was from the applicant itself. No one else came, and we did send out letters. And Planning and Zoning did vote unanimously 7-0 to approve it.
Okay, is there anyone here who would like to address the council on this item? On this particular item right now, okay? Andy?
Andy Understall Construction. This is for Washmill Main Street. I really don't have anything to add what Sal said. Everything in that whole block is already C2, or let's see, what's C?
3.
Yeah, C3. And then, so we just wanted to make everything conform. Since we're redoing the plat, we thought we might as well get it all done at once, so.
Okay,
And then we're going to turn the old schoolhouse into a residence and leave a little extra property with that, and then build a 3-family on the lot in front of it.
okay,
You know,
very good.
that's about it.
Okay, very
The
good.
old schoolhouse faces 3rd or 2nd?
It's second at 21 Second Street's the address. So,
Which
And it-
way will that face?
I'm sorry.
Which way will the residence face?
It'll still be that'll still be the address to it. The parking will be. I'm going to put a garage behind it along the property line, and that way I don't have to mess with the east side of the building or the south side of the building, and we'll add on to the west side where it's up against the property line, and that way you won't. I really don't want to mess with the the architecture of the building. Try to leave it stand alone and put a courtyard in there, some things. So, and then the other 3 structures will face north on Main Street.
Pretty cool that you're keeping that building.
Yeah, that one's actually in good.
How old is that building?
1860. Sarah, you remember? Yeah.
1860 something?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah. And it's really in good shape. The foundation and everything's in good shape. The brick, there's hardly any, structural cracks in it. Even the plaster ceiling's still intact inside, which is kind of weird. Normally that falls down, but
wow.
it's in really good shape, so.
What was it originally? Was it a,
There's a whole list of things. It was a vocational building for the high school. It was, I don't know.
it was a storage?
If I read the.
I know storage, that's all I can remember, yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, and it's been storage for years, so.
Yeah,
But,
How large will that home be?
I'm sorry?
How large will the home be when you complete?
That there, I'm looking to probably, there'll be 3 bedrooms and it's 1,500 square foot now. We'll probably double the size of it. Yeah, but part of it will be on top of the garage. The garage will be up against the west property line. And then there'll be a set of stairs on the inside that go to a loft area. And then we'll go through the wall on on the west side and then tie that in, so there'll be bathrooms. So it could be up a 4 or 5 bedroom. So it could be a rental. It could be any. I don't know. There's a lot of options. Right now, I'm just going to do a design and put it out there and see, what people want. So I'm not really set on anything on it exactly. So, but
well, I've often wondered what would ever happen to that building, so thank you.
okay.
Anyone else have any comments about this item?
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll need a motion to accept this into the minutes.
Make a
Make
motion.
motion.
Second.
Jeff, was that you?
Joe.
Joe, okay. We have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Sullentrup to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
An ordinance rezoning 15 and 21 East 2nd Street from R3 multifamily residence to C3 Central Commercial District in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer. Okay, so this is the ordinance that follows the previous item. Any questions or comments?
An ordinance rezoning 15 and 21 East 2nd Street from R3 multifamily residence district to C3 Central Commercial District In the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri, Wessels. Heidrich. Pettit. Skornia.
Yes.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Obermark.
Aye.
Sullentrop.
Yes.
Patke.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Rezone and consolidate parcels along Highway 100 previously part of the Camp Schrader Farm.
All right. Thank you. So this proposed rezoning, and it will be consolidated plat. It's not, the ordinance to consolidate, it's not on your agenda yet. They were still getting it surveyed as of last week, and so we'll get that. We want to get the public hearing done tonight, and then we'll have the vote on the rezoning and the plat at a later date. But this one is a little bit more complicated than the last one. I'll kind of jog your memory here of how we got to this point. Last July, I think it was, so just over a year ago, this property was annexed in, the Camp Schrader Farm, into the city limits. And at that time, they requested, these were existing parcels. The Camp Schrader Farm was already kind of broken up like this. There's about 9 parcels in total. Some of them are landlocked, obviously not developable, real small pieces. I'm not sure how it got that way originally, but these were the original parcels and they were brought in that way. The applicant at that time requested a couple different zonings. The top was to be C2 with this larger lot that faces the highway along with this triangular piece. This turquoise color is actually outside the city limits, so that's the code for our map of outside the city limits. This, again, lighter blue is multifamily, and so when they brought that in and annexed it, they requested for that to be multifamily residential. We knew at the time that they were going to have to come back and obviously consolidate these lots or get it replatted so that they could actually get it ready for development. And I knew at that time as well that that was going to lead to some type of change in this zoning because these property lines are not going to stay in the exact same spot. So the step that they're here for tonight is really just to get the zoning changed and I'll say amended and shifted so that it fits the proposed development that they'll come back with for a building permit at a later date. So this is the exhibit that was submitted. There's 3 different changes happening. So again, you have the commercial and multifamily that goes down. This is Meadow Lake Farms that we just annexed in April. That is single family, R1A single family residential. So their proposed change is this portion here that was commercial, C2, will actually become part of the R3 multifamily. So you'll see all of this become multifamily. There's a small piece here that was already multifamily. They're asking for it to become C2 commercial. So they'll block off and kind of square off that C2 commercial. And then lastly, the applicant came in with when they were talking to us and kind of thinking of a long-term plan and said, they think it would be beneficial to have a buffer in between the single family to the south and the existing multifamily. And so they are actually, they opted to rezone a portion of this here from R3 multifamily to R1C single family attached. So essentially you'll have the commercial up along the highway, the multifamily, and then you'll have a row of duplexes that will separate the two and kind of transition between higher density into the single family. And so I just drew this quickly on our mapping or on our computer PowerPoint down here today to try to make it look as best as I could. The mapping system, obviously, we can't get that from the county until it's approved and up to date, but this is kind of what it'll look like. You'll see all this light blue will become the multifamily residential piece. This yellow will be the boundary of the transitional single family attached. And then Don Avenue is anticipated to come through. This will have to get annexed as well. And this is that commercial piece that they're asking to rezone. Right now it's R3 multifamily, and there's just a corner here that they need to become commercial in order to kind of square this off. So they currently have approval from MoDOT, I guess, through the deed to have an access here on the highway. So the plan will be Don Avenue will kind of loop in. You have commercial outlots. It'll end with some multifamily that transitions down into single family, which we think, given the circumstances, it's existing R3 up to single family here that they didn't have to put in that buffer. So we think that actually is good faith from the applicant to get a good transition. And then up here there is existing single family off South Old Pottery. Right now it's existing commercial up along there. So we think this is, again, a good transition down. It's less intensive. You'll have single family, and then down below it there's a significant grade change from these South Old Pottery down to where the apartments will be. And then with that being said, we will require some screening and buffering between these two anyway. The single family and the multifamily, the multifamily will have to put in at least 20 foot of pretty significant landscaping between there. So they can show on their plan that there's an existing buffer that will meet the codes, or if it doesn't, then they'll have to come up with a landscape plan. So we do recommend approval of this. Again, we think it shows a good longer range plan. Eventually they'll have to come in with the plat, so you'll see obviously a much more professional and drawn roadway coming in, and the actual lots will be broken up. And then again, shows their transition down into single family.
Sal, those lots that are south of the commercial piece there, are those that are not colored right now, are those in the city limits or not?
No, so anything in turquoise is not in the city limits.
Okay.
So that'll have to,
Clarify that for everybody.
yeah, so we'll have to see this again anyway when they bring that in for annexation.
So did you say there'll be another exit onto Highway 100 there?
Yes, that's the plan.
That's the plan. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Okay. Or I hadn't remembered that.
Again, I would hope Don Avenue would come through where it's at now and kind of create some outlots and then transition that back out. Planning and zoning reviewed this last week and did vote unanimously 7-0 to pass it.
Okay.
So, and that, they voted to, all three rezonings, the single family, the R3 to C2, the C2 to R3, and then that last bit of R1C. And again, the only reason they don't have an ordinance on tonight is that these parcels obviously don't exist yet, and so a surveyor was out there, I think, last week, and they are going to give us legal descriptions so we know exactly what's getting rezoned, and that's what we'll attach to the ordinance your first meeting in September.
Sal, is that highway access, now, will that all, when that gets determined, that'll be between the developer and MoDOT?
Correct. Yeah.
Any other questions from council members?
All right, thank you.
Okay, is there anyone here who would like to address the council on this item? Did you, Steve?
Yeah, I guess I will.
You're by yourself tonight.
I'm by myself tonight. I've got a crowd outside.
Yeah.
My name's Steve Hoffman. I live to the south of that proposed R1C, R3, or C is it, I guess, development. And I guess I just want to say I appreciate the developer doing that buffer zone in there, and we kind of wait to see the plat before we really can make any decisions, but it looks like it's a good idea.
Okay, great. All right, thank you for being here. Anyone else on this item? Bert?
My name is Kurt Understall. I'm representing the Lelm LLC that owns this property. Just to give you an update, Sal did a good job of explaining it. We would have liked to have had the plat, but the surveyor's finding all the pins because it was a multi-parcel piece. So when we get an accurate survey, we hope to be back here next month with a plat so we can get the zoning. We're just trying to clean up the zoning for what we think that we're going to be able to get built there. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hey, Kurt, is that limited access there on that stretch of 100 there at all?
I believe it is, yes.
It is still in the
I think
portion
it
of it.
is
I know
limited
as we move further west, it somewhere stops and.
Yeah, I could find out from Highway and Transportation
Yeah.
Committee, but I believe it is limited to all the way to West Fifth Street.
Okay. Just wondering about improvements on Highway 100 as you go in there. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. We've got access there. We'd obviously like to have a stoplight there, but again, with MoDOT and the funding, I don't know if we can get that done or not. But we see a lot of commercial use to the right, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good. Thank you, Kurt. Anyone else on this item? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept this item into the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Solentrup, to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
Citizens' comments?
Okay, is there anyone here tonight who would like to address the council on any item that is not on the agenda? Come on up. So we ask that you give us your name and address and then address the council. So, okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
My name is Benjamin Brown. I live at 486 Watermill Drive in Washington, Missouri. And I realize that the mask mandate issue is going to be brought up on Wednesday, so I'll be brief. I would like to respectfully submit a petition from the residents, consumers, and business owners of Washington, Missouri, requesting that you vote no on the upcoming vote on the mask mandate.
Okay.
And I'd just like to leave this here with you, and I'll have a little more to say on Wednesday, but we'll save it for then.
Okay, very good.
If you could, if you don't mind, sir, if you could go ahead and leave it with our city clerk
Give
back
that to
there.
the city
It's her
clerk,
raising her
and
hand.
that would be doing that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
1,048 at the moment, and I should also note that this isn't, I don't consider this the final petition. We'll be bringing the final copy with the final signature count on Wednesday.
And are those from throughout the county, or are they throughout the
They're,
Washington area? Or,
It is 47 pages of signatures, but you go through, it's clearly laid out. It has the name, it has their email address, and also the city in which they reside.
Okay.
You'll see the majority say Washington. You have some unions, some other ones mixed in there, but we promoted it as for residents, consumers, and business owners in Washington. But you'll see it's pretty clear as you go through
okay,
it.
very good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to address the council?
I would like to address, but this makes me a nervous wreck.
Okay, so I need your name,
Kathy Peth.
and don't be
I'm sorry,
nervous,
could
because
you-
we're not going
Could
to...
you lower the microphone so we can hear you, please?
There you go.
There you
There you
go.
go.
And repeat your name?
Kathy Peth.
P-E-S-T... Peth.
P-E-T-H.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
And your address?
It's 384 Oakwood Valley Lane. We're in unincorporated Franklin County.
okay.
I'm coming to speak out against mandatory masks. For one thing, I don't know if y'all can see his picture. This is Dr. Fauci, and you can see how much this was in July, mandated mask in the state he was in, with either off or below his nose. And it's frustrating to see a man making all of these rules, adding to the rules, and now starting to include goggles that he doesn't even follow his own recommendations. For another thing, it seems to me like if we're in the middle of a deadly pandemic, we don't have to run around and rush and try to test everybody to see if they're positive for this or not. There's over a 99.7% survival rate on this disease. To me, if it was a deadly pandemic, we wouldn't be going out testing to look for people that are sick, but that our hospitals would be overflowed and people would literally be dying all over the place. We're not. Over a 99.7% survival rate for this. Out of Franklin County, we have a population of over 104,434 people. There have consistently been 18 deaths. The average age for those deaths were 74 and a half years old. I also know in Uganda, the population is 45 million people. Because it's a country of malaria, the people take hydroxychloroquine. There have been 9 deaths out of 45 million people. I don't want to, at 65 years old, be told by a government what to do with my face.
Okay.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Was there anyone else? Okay.
Report of department heads?
Tim, did you want to say something?
Uh,
Maybe we want to do citizens' comments. I'd probably be.
Might as well do it during citizens' comments. This will be fine.
Good evening, everybody, on this beautiful fall day. My name's Tim Brinker, presiding commissioner of Franklin County. I
You're
live
right.
here in wonderful Washington, Missouri. By the way, hats off to the new flag that was raised out in front a while ago at the plaza. It looks great, and it's a great symbol of our community. I just wanted to update everybody. The mayor and I have been having discussions, as well as my staff at the county, as to what messaging we are going to do as a commission and as the health department, and from our perspective and with our CARES Act funds. We got some signage we developed. We're going to really be aggressive in terms of getting the messaging out there as to what people need to be doing and take that self-responsibility we've been preaching from day one. That is the distancing, the hand cleanliness, the don't touch your face, the cover your face when you don't have the space exclamation as well. You know, our cases, I just got the report, it's going to be released for tomorrow. I think we had 22 positive and 37 recoveries for tomorrow's press release. But that being said, we're going to continue to have this virus, and it's not going to go away overnight, vaccine or not. That's a fact. What we need to do, though, is make sure people are as educated as possible, and that's what we're going to do. And that's what we're going to do with the CARES Act money. Mayor, I thank you for your participation and urgency in terms of getting this put to the table. I know our EMA director has contacted and been in contact with your EMA director, Mark Scornia and Abe Cook, respectively. Abe has brought over some signage to be distributed to business owners and anybody else that would like them. We also ordered in an additional cache of surgical masks, surgical grade masks at the county. At least 20 to 40,000 are available currently, and we'll make more available as they are needed. That's fine with us. People want to use them, they can use them, and that's great. What we really want to make sure, though, is that the message is delivered loud and clear and everywhere people go. So with the signage, it will be also added to by multimedia messaging, be it radio, perhaps even television, videos online, banner ads, Missourian Publishing Company, and Missourian Multimedia Corporation, whatever you guys call yourselves now. But we'll also be spending some of that money with them, too, and our local providers. I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that we are in this to the nth degree with you guys, like-minded, and hopefully we can get this thing toned down and keep it toned down to where it is and doesn't get much worse, so we can continue holding on until that vaccine is out there and can take care of our most vulnerable, which is obviously the key here. But I just want to make sure we delivered that message, and again, express my gratitude and thank you guys. I'll be willing to answer any questions you may have or any tips or suggestions too. We're always open. So, Tim, any of the residents in Franklin County, if they do wish to get some masks, where would they get them from?
Well, if, you know, residents of Washington, contact City Hall, residents of anywhere outlying the county, contact the county, anywhere Union, Sullivan, same thing. So they will be making them available, and they are available. So there's not one specific location, there's multiple. So they can contact anybody, any of the EMAs or anybody, like they can email or call anybody. So that'll ultimately get to where it needs to go and get those provided.
Tim, how many contact tracers does the health department have hired right now?
We just got another additional 3 that are in training, so at least 6 when all hands are not on deck. And right now we're running chins to the wall, let's leave it that way. And you know, it's not because of the amount of cases as much as it is because of the amount of detail that DHSS is requiring for state reporting. So when you get into all this stuff, you know, it's different if we are test positive and we get turned in and they have to seek all that out versus, oh, it's another positive case, mark it down, contact them. If people cooperate and be more self-disciplined, it'd be much better for everybody. And that's the message we want to make sure gets out there.
Stay with people that you know who you were with.
Pardon?
Don't be hanging out in big groups. I mean, stay in your small groups. So it's like, okay, I was with them, and them.
Hey, if you don't have the space, cover your face. And if you got the space, don't erase.
So,
All right.
very good.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay,
I
thank you,
appreciate
Tim.
it. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for using the CARES Act money for education. Yeah, it's exactly what it's for. Okay, thank you. Was there anyone else? Did you have the signs? Well, that's not really citizens' comments, but bring them up now so we can see the follow-up. Please.
Okay. So there are 5 different ones from courtesy of the Franklin County Health Department. So you see the messages on here. You can stop the spread, don't touch your face, wash hands, social distance, face covering recommended. And then there's also a color version, much spiffier, with the same message on there. Then we have, you can stop the spread if you feel ill, stay home, with a picture of a mask. There you go. You got that. If you're waiting for test results, stay at home. I know we've heard some of those stories that even though people, people are awaiting test results, they're still going throughout the community. And then the next one is you can stop the spread and masks are recommended. That one. And then last but not least, as Tim was saying, you can stop the spread if you don't have space, cover your face. So those are what we have. We have them upstairs in administration to distribute. Took some this afternoon to Chamber, Washington Area Chamber of Commerce, and they are going to spread the message to their members that they have those available at the office. So anyone who wants to post the signs, they can come in and pick them up. And we put on a Facebook page for the city today that we have them on hand at administration. So anyone can come in and pick them up from admin as well.
Okay, very good. Does anyone have any questions of Mark?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mark, for sharing those.
Report of department heads.
Got 2 items. I'll try to make this brief. One of them is just an update on the trail reconstruction. I know I'm briefing everybody, I think via email as well, just on the happenings going on down there. Wayne, Public Works, Street Department, and Parks Department have all been working pretty diligently to get this thing sped up as fast as possible. We're pretty confident that we'll have a brand new trail opened by mid-October. We're doing what we can to kind of pull that schedule up. Weather is somewhat cooperating, hopefully this week, to get some more of this rock done. I am meeting with the paving contractor middle of the week to see what their paving windows are. And like I said, if we can pull that up, we definitely will. There's been a lot of rock moved. I know Wayne's working on getting trees, I think, some of the limbs and things trimmed, but it's progressing very well. All the rock is out of the Missouri River. MoDOT's actually demobilized from the site, so they're gone. So it's all in our court to get this thing up and running, and we're getting pretty close here. So.
And the trail on the bridge is open now?
That's
Or-
what I heard today. I
Yes.
didn't get a chance to check with MoDOT.
I didn't
about
check.
that.
We did not get a
Did anybody
chance
else
to
see
check
that?
with MoDOT, but it's open.
It's open.
There we go.
You can ride your bike across the trail or walk out to the center.
Yeah,
Things are moving on, finally.
yeah, slowly but surely. Yeah, I know it's been a group effort between Public Works and Engineering and John and myself and everyone, and things have been going relatively smooth. We got, Parks has probably 2 to 3, probably 3 more days of tree removal later this week, towards the end of the week. And we've been grading. I know Public Works has been moving rock and then rolling it. We've been getting things out of the way for the paver to come in, things that are close to the trail. Working on getting those bench pads, park benches installed after the paver comes through. We've got about probably 12 to put in on the east trail and probably 9 to put in on the west trail. So still have work ahead of us, but it's moving along quickly.
So we'll be bringing I don't know if we'll need to bring a contract to you or not. We're going to check and see we're going to go ahead and use the funds that we had. If you'll remember, we had, I think, $251,000.
$251,000.
Between both pots of money to go ahead and contract that concrete work out so we can get that over with and get that opened up as fast as possible. Just so everybody remembers that we had a long, well, not a long, but a lengthy list of people that wanted to go ahead and do memorial benches. And so I asked Wayne to go ahead and identify those on the western side of the trail as well as the ones that we're going to go ahead and replace that were already there, so that we've got those opportunities for those folks to go ahead and do that. And so I just want to applaud both John and the street department and Wayne and the parks department, because I know the public's been waiting for a long time for that trail to be open. You guys know in this room that it was all contingent upon how fast MoDOT could get out of there, but our guys were ready to go ahead and take over as soon as they could. So we hope to go ahead and get that done for you very soon.
Okay, second item I have, the other big project going on, the pool project. So I think the last meeting, Wayne came with I think with a change order for the rock removal. That might have been a meeting before.
Right.
But if you recall, when that project was initially chosen with Westport, there was really never a good solution for the hillside. There was always one item with all three proposals that wasn't going to be met with the budget we were working on. Whether that be, one party maybe had a hillside solution, but one party maybe didn't have a new bathhouse, or all these things. So it was kind of always a little trade-off. So knowing that we have our Fair Street project, which I'm still waiting again on easements, but to build new sidewalks along the entire corridor of Fair Street with the concept of, hey, you have a new destination, the pool, let's get these people to the pool, and walking is still the oldest form of transportation. So with that, we just always were discussing internally, okay, let's get some sidewalks rebuilt and those things out of the transportation sales tax, because again, it truly is a transportation component. So in doing so, we were able to get some preliminary numbers in to essentially rebuild the sidewalks, add a couple sidewalks to the parks to get this community connected to that facility. So you all will laugh at my terrible photoshopping skills, but I could kind of show you what I put together here. So this was done in like 10 minutes, so bear with me. But essentially, this is Circle Drive. You're looking at the old pool, see it sitting over here. Both sides of the road does not currently have curb and gutter. All the way up from High Street, all the way down to, what's the east-west? I can't think of the, that's not.
Human?
No, it's the street further to
Fair.
the south. No, it's Esther, not Esther.
Oh, the one that's all the way
Yeah.
over there, Edith?
Edith, there we go, sorry. So it does not have curb and gutter, Circle Drive does not have curb and gutter, and that was not part of the original pool project. So talking with Wayne, it's always a maintenance issue with him. If you go drive there, it's a pretty big ditch and things. So we thought it would be beneficial to get some curb and gutter in here, kind of clean up the area around the pool. Not to mention it does have a stormwater component that you move that water to a different location rather than, if there ever was an issue, go over top of that hillside into the pool. So as you can see here, that's a new sidewalk that we're proposing from the upper parking lot to the new pool house, which sits, my mouse isn't gonna work, somewhere right over
there.
here. Sorry, you can't see it because it's not.
You're in the right spot.
See it right there, kind of right in here.
Yeah,
That's
right
where the new pool house is going to go. So.
Do
moving
you have
on.
to narrow the road there?
Yeah. The road's running around 32 feet right now. So 26 minimum for a fire lane. Nobody parks on it anyway. I think we can make it no parking and narrow it up a little bit. Still have 26-foot drive lane, 13-foot lane widths. It's a narrow road, but it's, that's wider than Highway 100 is, 55-mile-an-hour traffic. So, and it does meet our fire lane. So this is just another view looking east. You'll see that beautiful sidewalk that I drew in there coming down the hillside. So that retaining wall sits right in here, okay? That's really hard to see, but that retaining wall actually is going to sit right there. What that does is that allows for that hillside to be grassed. It goes to like a 5-to-1, 6-to-1 slope, which is easier to maintain. It's not that kind of rock-looking mess that's there today. What we are proposing is going for, kind of look up here. This is the retaining wall in front of Borgia, the church, a cast-style retaining wall that would also have some bench components bolted into it. So you get then the benefit, if you're on the pool deck, of sitting up against this retaining wall, kind of kill two birds with one stone, get your sidewalk able to get in there, get your maintenance stuff taken care of, and then it actually retains a slope that you can use for the pool. So that's just another one of the components to trying to get this sidewalk constructed. Now, I'll kind of move along. Now, this is basically at the only roundabout in town, the little island pointer at Circle Drive. Pulls over to the left side of your screen, but this is the park that Wayne has indicated is somewhat underutilized, that people really don't even know is there. If you look, thank you very much. Hold on there. There we go, that'll be helpful. All right. So the idea would be is there's going to be a new sidewalk right here anyway. It comes around the corner, okay? I didn't sketch it on there, but that new pool house kind of sits over here. This will bring, again, that Fair Street is over this side of your screen. It brings all that pedestrian traffic right through this park that is underutilized to this location right at the entrance to your, essentially to the entrance of your new pool house. Again, 5 foot, 6 foot sidewalk, we don't know yet, but it's one of those things, and we just feel like it brings another one of those amenities to the park system to get people to this pool. And then I'll switch it one more time. This will be looking from Fair. So this is Fair Street, ADA ramp. You see it at ADA ramp, brings you across the street to a ditch. So this actually will have an ADA ramp there, and that would bring you then right down to the pool. So again, the concept there is connecting communities, connecting subdivisions to our ADA facilities. It makes zero sense to build sidewalks to nowhere. Let's build sidewalks to places, which is the same strategy we've had on other projects. West Main Street to Catawba connected a residence to the downtown, not a residence, a subdivision to the downtown facilities. No different than the one up on Beaker Road. It connected two subdivisions to the Schnooks kind of complex there. So again, we're not putting sidewalks everywhere, but you're connecting these larger kind of blocks of these communities to destination locations, and I just think it really plays in well with that. So
Mark that street as a pedestrian crossing.
yeah, yep. It'll get, we have a new policy on internal policy on street striping, but since that's a mid-block crossing, you'll get the ladder style with the additional marking. That's
John?
something we did internally.
Will you put sidewalks the whole length of Fair Street? Because aren't
Yeah.
there sections of Fair Street without sidewalks currently?
There is.
Okay.
It's broken. So
Oh.
you'll have parcels that don't have sidewalks.
Okay.
And they're like 36-inch sidewalks, poor condition, doesn't meet ADA. Again, that's all part of our ADA transition plan. It'll go all the way to, not quite to the cul-de-sac on the far end. I don't have a good
Like
map there.
Horn?
But yeah, but it'll go to Horn,
On
which
one
again
side of the
connects that
street?
subdivision.
So it's pretty narrow.
It is a
Turn,
little narrow.
Very narrow.
That's why we're getting some easements and some right-of-ways from some of those property
Okay.
owners. It'll start on the west side, and then it actually transitions back over mid, because a lot of these homes have retaining walls built right to the right-of-way, and I can't actually physically put a sidewalk in there.
Okay.
So it will move a little bit, but again, even in the traffic committee, a couple years ago, there was a resident who lived on Fair Street was concerned about kids walking in the street and those things going to the park. So to me, it's just an obvious thing. So what we're proposing to do, this is budget, transportation sales tax, but what we propose to do is do another change order contract amendment with the contractor on site to get this done. But I did not want to hit you guys with the change order as it being a pool change order. It's really, it is, but it isn't. It's just a soft kind of change order for this scope of work.
Okay. Any questions for John?
John, where the circle is now with the plantation, well, the plantings are gone now. but
Yeah.
That's going to be eliminated.
Correct.
With the pool house. Circle Drive, or what we're going to call it after
Yeah,
next
there's
week,
a-
right?
Right.
The intersection from there to the back of Ronzik there, it's going to be curbed all the way to that?
Yeah, because it's a new parking lot, so it'll be, well,
So the curb's going to go around and include the parking lot?
correct. Now, be careful this is going to be hard to see here. The west side, so the side further down the hill, the west side, I don't propose to have curb and gutter on that.
Okay.
It's just the side that wraps around the park
Right.
and around the new pool house. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm just saying, we're going to create an intersection there of a two-lane street instead of that roundabout.
Correct.
And et cetera there. I mean, just to clarify that where the
Yep.
curb's going to be, where the street's going to be, not a stop sign only from the auditorium.
We'll evaluate that when it comes up. But
Okay.
we are not proposing to pave it. I don't think it needs to be paved. You're going to saw cut it, slip a sidewalk in, and then go forward. I'm not going to pave it right now. We can if you want. I look at paving as it looks nice when it's done, but there's also a usage component. You don't go spending money to just,
What about the planted area?
what's that?
What about that planted?
That will be paved because again, your pool house.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get over.
Pool house actually sit almost to that.
Yeah. I
Close.
don't have a good photo for you.
Okay.
But you're going to need that space to get that parking lot in there anyway. And that's a 30 some odd space parking lot?
32, I think, right.
Yeah.
Might be down to 30 now with
Which-
changes with the adding on the building.
Oh, adding on the building.
Which again, 32, that's a small parking lot for that type of facility. So I would envision people parking at that upper lot and walking down. And we thought it was a really good concept because, I mean, that generates, interest, excitement for the kids walking on the sidewalk. They see the water, they see everything. I mean, it's,
Can't wait to get in the door.
yeah, I mean, to me, it just makes sense.
Well, that was part of the discussion in the pool meetings, that it was gonna have to be used, the upper parking lot, for
Yeah,
sure.
you're not going to have enough space.
And that's why this sidewalk is needed to walk there, so they're not walking on the street in addition to that, yeah.
So. So anyway, that's, just give you all a heads up that once we get the numbers actually pulled together, they did do some utility work that had to be done. That was $25,000 was the original utility work. But I mean, estimating, you're probably looking at somewhere 225,000 maybe, round numbers, to do all that sidewalk work. But again, you get a large benefit of that because it's like one of the only streets, I mean, it needs curb and gutter, it needs that stuff done. So,
Wayne, did you have an update on the pool?
Yes, I wanted to add that, I appreciate John, this little Hillside project in the streets and sidewalk and everything has become like a mini project within the pool, and I appreciate that, because that was one of the things that, when I saw Westport's proposal months ago, that was one of the things that I had really hoped to have addressed was that hillside and the rock and the maintenance, the maintenance issues that we have with it. And John really put his head together and we came up with this plan. Plus we needed a way for people to be able to get from that upper parking lot down to the entrance of the new pool building. They can still go along the auditorium, but you really need something on that side of the hill or that side of the pool. So I do appreciate John's help with all this. So we'll be able to mow that hillside now, which will be good. It'll look a lot better when you're sitting at the pool than just a bunch of rock with dried up leaves and trash in it and stuff like that. So as far as the rest of the pool update goes, someone asked, I can't remember, was this meeting last a couple weeks ago or if it was park board or both, but actually, it may have been Steve. The hole that they dug in the deep end of the pool, it's actually 16 feet deep. So 13 feet for the actual pool itself, and then they needed some extra room for piping and stuff like that. So I think that came up here and in park board. So they're getting ready to, they're doing a lot of site work now that the hole is dug. Was it last week we picked out some colors for like the block colors of the building and the gutters and the green roof and things like that. So starting to get going on some of that things. Some of those smaller things I need to get going on some of the colors like the slide color and things like that before the end of the month. So
We did have a meeting with the Aquatics Committee. I guess it was back on Thursday. Last Thursday, the 13th? Yep.
yes, Aquatics
So
Facility Committee.
just to bring, if there was any of them that, just to bring them up to date on some of the workings with it, so.
Anything else?
Any questions of Wayne or John?
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else?
Ordinances, resolutions. An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an amendment to sale contract by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, the County of Franklin, Missouri, and B&M Metro Properties, LLC.
Holtmar.
Introduced by Councilmember Holtmeyer. This is an extension one more extension on the property.
This
South
takes
Point?
it out to 9/17, about approximately a month.
Any questions or comments?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of amendment to sale contract by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, the County of Franklin, Missouri, and B&M Metro Properties, LLC. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Holtzmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Sullentrup?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance amending Schedule 4, no parking at any time of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri.
Patke.
Introduced by Councilman Patke.
Okay.
You want to go ahead?
This was, if you recall, a couple council meetings ago, McBride came in here with their preliminary plat for their subdivision. Locust Valley is the name of the subdivision there on Locust Street. There was a little bit of concern of buses use Locust Street, I guess. I'm not sure why, but they use it to get kids in their buses and just the narrowness of the street and those things. And looking at that, we took it to the traffic committee as well. And looking at that, there's only really one home that fronts that, and that gentleman did speak. And I think there was an idea thrown out there to just make it no parking on the west side of Locust Street to allow for an additional 7.5, 8 foot of drive lane. So it took the traffic committee. We discussed it there. Everybody was pretty happy there. And we're prepared to make it no parking on that side of the street to kind of solve some of those issues.
John, is it going to go all the way up to 11th Street?
It would not. It's essentially from 10th Street to the north, so down the hill, to that gentleman's property line, which is, it's about in line with his house, because he does park there. But by that time, I forget the length on it, but by that time, you're already out of that turning radius, so it's not a concern. And I think they do have 4 homes proposed on that side as well. So, in addition to that, they're proposing sidewalks in their development as well, just to, again, take those people walking, put them in a safe spot, which we feel like is a somewhat of a decent trade-off for a little narrower street.
Any other questions?
An ordinance amending Schedule 4, no parking at any time of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri. Wessels? Heidrich?
Aye.
Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Holtzmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Sullentrup?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance amending Section 705.180.A and B of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
Okay, within your packet, you'll see I provided the cover letter that tried to summarize the about 2 or 3 month now discussion over the need to do something with water rates. Water rates, if you recall, have not been essentially increased for over 8 years now. And look at the 10-year budget, we do have an issue in the upcoming future with break even within the water department and providing those low rates. We have the lowest water rate community our size in the state of Missouri. This rate proposal still keeps us in the top 5 lowest. Kind of an oxymoron. But anyway, this will generate approximately $215,000 a year. I'm sorry, $365,000 a year. $215,000 is needed to break even. So one of the concepts is, yep, we need to be operating break even. I'm not saying that at all. But we also have to have some dollars available to improve the system. It is a perfect time to do that because we are essentially in the second round of the transportation sales tax paving of streets. That sunsets in 2030. That was approved in 2006. Every 14-ish years, you start looking at those streets again. We're right smack dab in that. This will hopefully allow us then to evaluate those water lines and say, you know what, now's probably time. They're probably pushing 60, 70 years old. Let's replace the water lines. Let's pave the street. You don't get those opportunities except every 15 years. Nobody wants to go in and tear up a new street, put in a water line. That is not good planning. Now, that does not mean that you won't ever have a water line break in a new street. It provides us that option if we need it. In addition, capital improvement sales tax funded about approximately half of what a new water tower would cost. that was identified in a hydraulic study back in 2015, I believe, that we needed a water tower on the east end of town. That's coming in the next 2 to 3 years. We don't have the money to pay for that. So again, we have to look at different ways to try to offset some of those costs. So within that, I think what you'll see, the average utility bill is $50.24. That's average across the board. It'll increase to $54.56 for that average. So if you look at your utility bill only, it's less than, it's a less than 10% increase. Also within there, there is an automatic escalator to water rates that'll go into effect each October 1st after this one. So Finance Department will look at the cost of living. This year, I think it was 0.6, I believe. But they'll look at that. The water rates then will automatically be adjusted the October 1st of that preceding year. So we don't kind of get into the situation like we were in now with such a bigger increase. Kind of keeps us stay up with cost of living. And I've not heard anything, comments or anything, so I can answer any questions you all may have.
I would just like to comment and thank John for his work on this, as well as Mary Sprung, Kevin Quatham. This has been a long time coming for us to go ahead. This was mentioned in my interview for this position.
It was, wasn't it?
It was. So it's been a few years coming and getting there, so just telling you. So anyway, like I said, we didn't have the escalator in there before, so hopefully that takes care of that problem, and we don't have to take a look at these all the time, or at least every 8 years, as far as that goes. Not playing catch-up.
John, you were just did some work over there on High Street. Now, it was some stormwater, just
Yeah, I'll get there. Oh, yeah, yes.
High and
Sorry.
Third. So do repairs like that, what kind of funding, what does that
So
come from?
the High and Second Street situation?
Yeah,
So that comes out of that's a sanitary sewer situation, so that's a different funding source.
Okay.
So anytime your fees that you pay in your utility bills, that does not go into the water fund, that stays over in the sewer fund, okay? Now, we do utilize some stormwater money in there as well, because we have issues with infiltration, inflow, those type of things. So that specific thing was not a water situation.
Right, okay.
But I will tell you, we've had 3 water main breaks on one block of line in the past 4 days on Terry Lane. It's a 2-inch line, it needs to be upsized. We just didn't have the dollars to do it, so we just keep chasing these problems. This, again, will hopefully allow us to take care of some of those things.
Yeah, good. Anyone else?
An ordinance amending sections 705.180.a and b of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Pettit?
Aye.
Scornia?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Selentrop?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington to accept the bid from John Fabic Tractor Company for the repair of the 2015 track loader.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilmember Holtmeyer.
Okay, this is high lift out at the landfill. Had an issue, track broke on it actually, and when they came out to actually do the repair, it was sitting on the mound of trash, so they took a look at it, got it drug off the mound of trash. The undercarriage bearings, they're sealed bearings. They are not bearings that we can maintain. It's just part of the operation. But there was some issues with the undercarriage, sprockets, those things. Tony gave you a nice little letter. Hopefully you all read it. But it's a pretty sizable repair bill, no doubt. But this is a piece of equipment that we plan on having for the remainder of life in the landfill. So we are just asking for you to approve it. Typically, it's over 40,000. We got to come to you with those type of repairs. So,
Is that a rubber track?
no, sir, steel track. We do use it at different locations as well. Like, I think when the fair goes on, it's one of our pieces of equipment used there. And we do have another high lift that we utilize at other parts around the city. So when one's down or one's getting used, we can kind of move them around. So it does get used every day.
John, are we expecting to be able to get this out of our current budget?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yep, I know you asked for that last time. I'll make sure I address that with Tony.
You know, there's no telling if this is a maintenance issue or if it's just wear and tear. You know, I mean, I guess I just want to make sure that we're doing proper maintenance on the things that we don't have problems like this again.
Right, this was definitely a sealed bearing situation, and I know that now.
But the
Does that
rollers
mean
and
that
things
there's
like that
rollers?
too.
Correct.
Right.
There are some things, yeah, no doubt. You could always do better maintenance. So I don't know the specifics of that, but I could definitely address that and make sure.
Well, maintenance is expensive on them, but when we make repairs like this, it pays for itself, so.
Anything else?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington to accept the bid from John Fabic Tractor Company for the repair of the 2015 track loader. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Pettit?
Aye.
Scornia? Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Solentrep? Patke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Hot Shot Asphalt LLC for the 2020 parking lot asphalt overlay project.
Pat?
Introduced by Councilman Scornia.
Okay, in your packet, Andrew put together a cover letter, again, showed 3 bids that we received to pave some parking lots, one being the gazebo lot, I guess, the Lions Lake gazebo lot, kind of catty corner from the All Abilities Park, little small parking lot there. The Ronzik Field parking lot, which is high in 2nd Street, and then the 3 walking lanes or driving lanes at the
The
fairgrounds.
drive lanes out there in
That
front of
have
Main
always been
Street.
some sort of like a trap rock type situation. This will pave those now, you know, to make those much more user-friendly for future events there. So originally, we had these parking lots ready to go for bid early spring, put together an estimate just based on those asphalt unit costs. We held on to those because of the current status with concern with taxes, with
Just
the
our
COVID situation.
budget.
So we're trying to get those done this budget year. Went out to bid here late. We hope to have these things done in the next month. But that's, we'll move as quick as we can on getting done. We are going to do all the prepping, the power washing, you know, all those things, all the milling work with our asphalt mill, so they don't have to mobilize a mill or anything like that. It's literally just coming in and pay for us.
Are there any questions or comments?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Hot Shot Asphalt LLC for the 2020 parking lot asphalt overlay project. Wessels? Aye. Heidrich?
Aye.
Pettit?
Aye.
Scornia?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Solentrep? Patke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Brinker's Addition Plat 2 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
All right, this is just a real simple boundary adjustment on Fair Street. You can see this is currently 2 lots, an existing home and a garage backed by an alley. The property owner also owns this empty lot here. They are wishing to construct an additional house here and to make it a little wider and make sure they have enough space in between the existing garage. They're doing just a real simple boundary adjustment, just a couple feet. It's going a couple feet down to the south here, so you'll still have the 6 feet off this garage, and then it will jog in just a foot in here. So very slim boundary adjustment, but they wanted that width they needed for their plans for this house. Each lot is still over 6,000 square feet, so we were recommending approval.
Okay, any questions or comments?
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Brinker's Addition Plat 2 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Pettit?
Aye.
Scornia? Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Solentrep? Patke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Schneider's Subdivision Plat 5 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Excuse me, introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
All right, this is another boundary adjustment. It's actually 3 lots. This is on Wishbone Drive, so, on the,
Wishwood.
sorry, Wishwood Drive. I did that this morning, too. Wishbone. I did that this morning, too. All right, Wishwood, on the east side of town. So this is actually on top of kind of a bluff here. You can see Union Pacific Railroad right away in the river. One of the neighbors called me actually on Lot B here and realized that their fence and retaining wall was actually over the property line when one of them was getting a survey. And then at the same time, they realized this Lot A here originally was 2 lots they built over way back when, and they never actually got rid of that property line. And so, sorry, this is what I meant to show you in the beginning. So you can see 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 are the original lots, and those all still technically exist. And so when they are looking at it, this fence and boundary or retaining wall is a little bit over this lot line, and technically there's an original lot line going through this house. And so the neighbors just went together and paid for a survey to get it all fixed. So there is going to be a slight jog in this one as well, because the fence comes in and stops there, and they didn't want to be, it has to be more than 6 feet. They're going to be 10 feet. It's a bigger lot, but there's a real slight jog here as well. So no problem. All the lots are still well above the minimum lot size.
Any questions or comments?
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Schneider Subdivision Plat 5 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Wessels? Aye. Heidrich?
Aye.
Pettit?
Aye.
Scornia?
Yeah.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Sullentrop? Patke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Commission, committee, and board reports. Preliminary plat, Main Street Development, Plat 1.
I can go back to the first one, John, all the way to the left. Thank you. All right, so this is the plat that accompanies the adjacent rezoning we looked at earlier tonight. So this is Main and Market Street on the south side of the intersection, adding 3 more townhomes that are identical to the ones to the north. This is already zone C3, so it allows for the 0 lot line. These townhomes will go directly up to the property line. It has a 20-foot no parking ingress egress throughout the back 3 lots, so they can get into the garages. There is no need for a fire lane in the back because you have Market Street and Main Street that are approved fire lanes, so given that this building, even with all 3 lots together, is less than 150 feet. And so in that regard, they don't need a full fire lane to the rear. Went to P&Z last week. They recommended approval as well. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions or
Back
comments?
to the street map, are the other, these will face
They'll face
north?
those.
So
North.
this is what's under construction right now.
Okay.
We're here, and it'll face Main Street.
Oh, okay, all right, I see. I was thinking the other block. My fault. Yep.
Any questions? Okay.
We need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion
Oh,
to
I'm
accept.
sorry. Okay.
Second.
We have a motion by Pat Keys. Pat Keys, listen, I'm thinking of ice cream.
Well, we all should, yeah.
Motion by Pat Keys, seconded by Obermark to accept this item, approve and accept this item. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the item. Thank you.
An ordinance approving the final plat of Main Street Development, Plat 1 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Patke.
Introduced by Councilman Patke.
This is the final plat following this. Given that it's on an existing public street and there's no extension of water and sewer, they do not need an escrow or performance guarantee. So that's why we're doing the final plat at the same time.
Okay, any questions or comments?
An ordinance approving the final plat of Main Street Development, Plat 1 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Wessels? Aye. Heidrich?
Aye.
Pettit?
Aye.
Scornia?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Sullentrop? Patke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance approving the final plat of Locust Valley in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
All right. So this is the last one. I don't have any slides to pull up. This was in your packet. Nothing has changed as the lot layout from when we did the final development plan for Locust Valley and the McBride development. This is just to get in the final plat so they can get it on record, and then we can close on it. So we've been putting off closing until they get this recorded. And in this case, they obviously do need to put in some public improvements, and so they have to get a performance guarantee, which is attached to your ordinance in your packet. It's for $168,000, I believe. And John reviewed that cost estimate and agreed that that is, accurate cost estimate. So if for some reason something happens even after they close on it and back away, we can use that escrow to finish the water, sewer, stormwater, all that.
Okay, any questions?
Sal, the piece that's listed as park and easement, from there to Jefferson Street, do they still own that, or the city retain that?
So we will own that.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what we took out. Anything that's park and easement will be where the trail's at, and then anything that's common ground, they will keep and have for their own HOA.
But from there to Jefferson Street, we still own?
Will be ours,
Right,
yeah.
okay. Originally, that wasn't the case, correct? I mean, that's...
It's always been that way.
Okay.
Yeah, it got widened a little bit, but originally we always had a 30-foot strip for our trail.
And if you recall, that's actually subdivided as well. There's a commercial lot on Jefferson Street.
Right.
That we were, trying to actually sell at one point.
Yeah, but we're going to hang on to that. So hopefully when this is all done, if you remember, we went out to bid to try and sell that, and no one was interested in our minimum of $100,000. And so hopefully when this is done, people will actually pay that price.
Right.
Any other questions?
An ordinance approving the final plat of Locust Valley in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Wessels? Aye. Heidrich?
Aye.
Pettit?
Aye.
Scornia?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Sullentrup? Patke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Mayor's report.
A few calendar updates and reminders tonight. This Wednesday, August 19th, will be our special council meeting to discuss the mask mandate. And I would expect, right now, we have how many folks signed up to speak?
13.
Okay, so right now, we're asking people to sign up in advance if they want to address the council. And we currently have 13, but they can sign up on Wednesday as well, all the way up until 5 minutes before the meeting starts.
Right.
So that meeting is at 6 o'clock. The Knights of Columbus is going to set up the room with social distancing, right?
Correct.
Yes. So anyway, and then we will also have a special council meeting on Monday, August 24th, and that is to review our tax rate for this year. So that's at 7. I know that there was some concern that maybe we could have that earlier, but our normal meeting is at 7, and we certainly didn't want to be setting a tax rate at the wrong time. People are used to us being here at 7. And then our next regularly scheduled meeting is moving from Monday to Tuesday, September 8th, because of Labor Day. So we have a couple of changes there. So, and that's really all I have.
City Administrator's report.
I just have a few items to discuss in executive session for real estate.
Council comments.
Yes, I do have something I'd like to bring up. Been doing a lot of thinking over the weekend about some of the stuff that's going on. So I made a paragraph up, and I'm just going to read it to you people and see how it goes. I spent a lot of time this past weekend reading all the text messages, emails, and listening to phone messages from citizens regarding the mask issue. I truly appreciate everyone's opinion about it. There's no way we as a council are going to make everyone happy. But we do not but we do have to make the best decision based on what we read and what we hear. So here's where I stand. If a business wants you to wear a mask, that's their choice. If it comes down to have to wear a mask, let the governor of the state make that decision, not us. We should not use our position to tell people what they must do. Instead, we should continue to educate the public to follow the CDC guidelines and make that choice for themselves. So with that, I'm going to make a motion here tonight for the city to write up a resolution in favor of the CDC guidelines for all citizens. And in lieu of that, I'd like to take the meeting off the table on Wednesday night, August 19th. Thank you.
I'd like to add, too, that with the hundreds of emails we received in the last few weeks, both for and against. I appreciate the citizens' input, no doubt. It really shows how much the people of Washington care about what the issue at hand. By passing a mask mandate ordinance, we're forcing citizens to do what we feel is best and not allowing each individual to choose what's best for themselves. And then my biggest problem is, not to mention the unnecessary burden it would put on our police department. That's been a real thorn for me. I've talked to a few officers. What do we do? How will it be enforced? That kind of thing. So I second the motion.
Any discussion, comments?
I would make one comment. I said it in an email to all of you, but just repeating. I think you're right. So many people have responded to this, both for and against. And I'm afraid it has become divisive. However, I feel that many people responding, they deserve a vote of this council on whether or not we mandate this issue. I feel that the recommendations that were talked about and are being talked about, those have been out there for 5-6 months. All you have to do is go online, turn on the TV, and they tell you those things over and over and over. Problem is, many people just don't pay attention to it. So I feel that we do need to have that vote. If the vote, if it goes down, so be it. Then I think some sort of a resolution echoing what the county is talking about doing, it would be certainly appropriate. But I do believe they deserve that vote.
I agree. Nobody would like more than to eliminate that meeting than Gretchen Pettit. But you can't deny the number of people you heard from in favor of it also. And that's what we're elected to do, is to have these difficult conversations and then vote accordingly. I think it's a disservice to the hundreds of people who did contact in favor of it.
Wasn't on the second part of that special meeting, isn't there a resolution on that for a second vote?
There is.
That's on that already. So if the mask mandate would fail, we could vote on the resolution right after that.
You could vote on the resolution after that, correct?
I also feel, we put ourselves in a bit of a bind here with having, we said we weren't going to make a decision at these meetings. We've put it on the agenda. Just throw that out there also,
Because we had said earlier that we would vote at it at another meeting.
Correct.
Right.
To keep these meetings reasonable. I guess that was the intent, not to have everybody here the whole time.
What bothers me the most is all these people want to tell us what to do, and we're all running unopposed. Why don't they put their mouth and their body on the ballot? Or their body and their mouth on the ballot?
It's a good point.
It's a real good point. Mm-hmm. So do we have a motion and a second? Anyone else have any comments or whatever, or we can?
I do agree with Nick. It feels a little suspicious we did say it was Wednesday, and it would be easy to, we took the vote tonight. We wouldn't meet on Wednesday. I know that as I look around this room. But it does feel shady that we said we were meeting on Wednesday, and people are planning to be there and submitting their points and signing up to speak, and then we just say, oh, sorry. We voted on Monday when nobody was here.
So Steve, what is your motion?
My motion was to have Mark write up a resolution for CDC guidelines for all the citizens. In lieu of that, take the meeting off the table on August 19th.
And just for the record, for clarification, we do have a resolution that's in your packet for Wednesday that Nick had asked about. So unless you want something changed to this, you just have to let us know. But this is the draft that we came up with based upon research in some other cities that did resolutions. So that's already in place, just so everybody knows.
And we've all had input in it. I know I reviewed
Correct.
it, Mayor reviewed it, I'm not sure.
Nobody can use that resolution right there.
We would use, yes, this is in your packet for the meeting on Wednesday night as item 2B, a resolution of the City of Washington supporting CDC guidelines on wearing cloth face coverings.
Well, the one concern that I had about it as well, and several people have heard me say this before, if, chances are this could be a very narrow vote or whatever, and I just feel like, that is classic of what's going on in our city, in our county, our state, and our country. Everybody is so divided over this. And what does that really say? Well, the ayes won, but did they really? Is it really a mandate? When it's just everybody is just so divided over it. So in my mind, it's like, well, what kind of authority is that? Which I guess it is an authority by one or two or whatever. But we haven't had a lot of that. I think that throughout my time here as mayor, we've had controversial items before, but we've always come to some type of agreement and some type of resolution that makes everyone happy or most everyone happy and stuff like that. So that's just one of my concerns.
I agree with you. I think the divisiveness is big, and it's about big matters,
Mm-hmm.
I really think this thing, to me, which is part of what I have trouble with, it's not a big matter.
Mm-hmm.
I think, though, what the people look at it as is a sign of something else.
Right.
Those big matters. So I think, and I still believe we need to do that vote that we promised them. When we do that, either way, however it works out, I think we've got some work to do over a bigger issue of divisiveness, including this community. It's not just, it is the country, but it's here too. We've got to deal with that in some way. And I think whatever we decide, I think it would be good to let the people know, hey, this is the way it turned out, and we know many of you felt both ways, all right? But we need to do some things on working as a community and to look at those bigger items and see what we can come to,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone else? So I guess we have a motion on the floor to have a resolution and forego the meeting on Wednesday, and we have a second. So I suppose we should,
Roll call.
Yes.
Wessels,
No.
Heidrich,
Aye.
Pettit,
No.
Scornia,
No.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Obermark,
No.
Sullentrop,
Yes.
Patke.
Aye.
this is what I'm talking about, close vote.
Sandy,
Well, as much as I suppose that we did put it on the agenda, we did put it in there, and I do think that we should probably go ahead with our meeting on Wednesday evening, and just so that it doesn't look like we're trying to pull something quick, here. And so I guess that would be, what am I voting here? So, anyway.
If you want to keep the vote, the meeting, it's yes.
No.
No, it's a no.
No.
It's a no.
Thank you, whatever.
So, anyway, I mean, I do hear that we did send that all out and stuff like that. So, I guess my vote is no. And that will have the meeting.
Then it fails.
Motion failed.
Okay. Anyone else have anything?
City Attorney's Report. Public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss personnel, legal, and real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich? Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Solentrop?
Yes.
Patchkey?
Yes.